friend of mine recently pointed out to me this great podcast that Dr. Peterson put out not too long ago with a young woman named Yomi Park. And Yomi Park is a woman who was born in North Korea in the early to mid 90s, and how she recounts all of her kind of sufferings that she experienced in North Korea, sufferings which are really not too unique, sufferings that she had in common with so many people in North Korea. You know, how starvation, how people would starve to death and do starve to death like now in our own time in North Korea. She recounts an experience when she went to the hospital because she had a stomach ache. The doctors performed a sort of Frankenstein kind of surgery on her. They didn't even knock her out all the way. They cut her open and then sewed her back together again, claiming that they didn't find anything wrong. And she says that in the hospital, she actually, on her way from her bed to the bathroom, came across piles of dead bodies with rats eating these bodies, and then children who were starving would try to catch the rats themselves to eat them, and then the children themselves in their own turn would die. These sufferings that are just incomprehensible to us in the West, these things that we can't even wrap our minds around, these things that people in North Korea even today go through and suffer. So it's really an extraordinary story, and a really big eye-opener as well for us who so many times in our own world just kind of don't even think about what these people in North Korea are actually going through today. So it's really worth the listen. It's really a remarkable podcast. She recounts how she survived, though, North Korea. She escaped with her mother, and she was sold into sex slavery in communist China. Eventually, she escaped communist China into South Korea, and then eventually made her way all the way to Columbia University in New York. And everything that she went through and how she held on, for this will to live, it's really remarkable. And one thing that I took away from it was she says at one point that her father told her, that life is a gift, and how that was something that she held on to when life was just so unimaginably difficult. But that was something she held on to that helped get her through, that life is a gift. Another thing she talked about as well, and I think this was one of the most disturbing things that she talked about in this podcast, how when she went to Columbia University, because of the political correct environment that she found herself in, she said that she found herself censoring her speech in a way that was similar to how she acted in North Korea. She felt the fear of speaking freely when she was at Columbia University, almost in a way that was identical to when she was living in North Korea. So I thought that was pretty disturbing in a lot of ways, and how so many of our colleges and universities in general, the humanities department, have just been kind of completely lost, and how sad that is, how great of a tragedy it was. And it was very telling as well that Dr. Peterson, who I don't think wears his emotions on his sleeve, actually broke down in tears when Yomi Park was talking about her experience at Columbia University and how it really was not the best experience. So I think in our own Western world, when we kind of take so many things for granted, we take food, we take freedom for granted, this really moving and powerful testimony of Yomi Park is definitely worth the listen. I've been encouraging everybody to take a moment and to listen to it. It's a little bit long, but it's totally worth the listen, this podcast with Dr. Jordan Peterson and Yomi Park. I hope you get to check it out. God bless.